The best, fastest, most direct, most practical way is through the workbook for students in A Course in Miracles. I had a few clients come up to me this week and express the same problem and difficulty. And anytime I have synchronicities like that, to me, it means pay attention. So when I paid attention to this, I realized that there's a very, very, very important message that you need to hear today, now, and we can't wait any longer. So my question to you is, are you tired of seeing all of the suffering and the lack of love in our world? And are you tired of realizing that there's so much pain either inside yourself or in others? And you're tired of the stress and the self-sabotage and the lack and the not good enough and the unworthiness that just swirls around us in being a human in life on earth? If you said yes, then you're just like my clients. You're just like me. Jesus in A Course in Miracles says that when you can no longer tolerate the lack of love in yourself or in other, that you must join the great crusade to correct it. And what that means is saying yes to you doing your part to bring restoration and peace to this planet. The A Course in Miracles tells us that our part is first forgiveness, and we reach that forgiveness through mind training. We are also told that we have a second part, which is our special function. And our special function is given us when we clear out our mind enough through mind training to be able to receive what our part and purpose is to play in God's plan for peace. And so what I am called to share with you today and teach you about today is the most important and powerful tool, in my humble opinion, on the planet Earth to help us to undo the suffering, to train our minds, and to ultimately be restored to the perfect love that our Creator God is and that we are, so that we can allow that perfect love to be expressed through us and out into the world to help and to bless and to serve and make a difference in the lives of those that we love and those that we don't even know yet. We are going to be discovering, one, what the workbook lessons of A Course in Miracles are. Number two, why you need them to end suffering in yourself and the world. And number three, why this can't wait any longer. So if this is speaking to you, my friends, you are exactly where you're supposed to be. My name is Britney Shawley. I am a spiritual therapist, and I have been for the last 15 years. I'm also a dedicated student and teacher of A Course in Miracles, here to help people just like you to transform their thinking from fear to love and from pain to joy through the application of A Course in Miracles. So I'm so grateful you've joined me today, and I will try and make this teaching as practical and relatable to you as possible. Many of you know the deep details of my story, and if you don't know, I'm going to give you a little bit of a synopsis right here, right now. But before I started the workbook lessons of A Course, I was a mess. My life was a mess, but not the kind of mess that's like obvious. You're like, okay, that person doesn't have it together. No, on the outside, I looked all together. I looked like I had the smile on my face, but behind the smile, inside my heart and inside my closed room at night, I was struggling. I was overweight. I was sabotaging. I had bad addictions. I was just didn't know who I was or what I was here for or what I was supposed to do. I knew that I wanted to help others, but I could barely help myself. Like, how was I going to help other people? Does this sound familiar to you? Let me know below in the comments. I was at the point where I realized that there must be a better way. Okay, maybe if you being here today, you might be at a similar place. There must be a better way. Like, this doesn't work. It's never worked. There's got to be another way. This is just scratching the surface of where I was at. But the place that I want to pivot to is for you to just think about that in your own life. Like, look out on the world. We can see all of the suffering, all of the sabotage, the addiction, the abuse, the pain, the wars, the scares, the cries. There's so much intensity out there. And all of that is an effect of the exact same thing that I was experiencing in my life. It was an effect of a lack of mind training. It was the effect of a lack of knowing who I am and what I'm here for. That's the same thing in the world. Nobody knows who they are or what they are here for, and they don't have any mind training. Look at it in your own life. If you experience the same similarities of maybe even feeling stressed before you even get out of the bed, feeling like you have too many to-dos, you don't even know where to start, that life is just too chaotic and too rushed and too much, and you just feel like you're going to fall apart. You know, maybe you feel like you've done some work and you have it all together, but like there's still something that's missing in you, that there's still something that hasn't fully landed for you, and you're not quite right, like not quite on purpose in the way that you know that you want to and can be, with just a little more help and support and tool, right? And so to me, I want you to see that this is an epidemic, that this is a problem that we all share individually and collectively. Suffering is everywhere, but let's remind ourselves, suffering is optional. Suffering is optional, and suffering is not random. It's literally happening for a reason. It's happening as an effect of lack of mind training, which would mean the answer is mind training. I talked a lot about this last week in the video on mind training. Click on it if you want more details. But today I want to focus on the answer, not the problem. The answer is mind training. And the best, fastest, most direct, most practical way to go about doing that is through the workbook for students in A Course in Miracles. It's literally made for this purpose. So that's why we need the workbook, because there's so much suffering in the world and in ourselves. And let's be honest, I don't think it's going to get better collectively anytime soon. It might even get darker. It might even get worse out there. And because of that, we need to be prepared. We need to be prepared with the tools to stay in the peace and the calm inside of ourselves and not be ruffled or triggered or upset by what is going on around us. The point is to find that calm center so that we can respond through the calm center instead of just being in this rushed and frantic and, oh my God, what's happening state all the time. Okay, we don't want to be fed by what the news and the media and fearful people are saying. We want to be fed by our souls. We want to be led by the inside out, not the outside in. The problem is being led by the outside in. Okay, and we're not taught in the world mind training. We're not taught in the world how to live from the inside out. We're not taught in the world how to find that calm and that connection and that peace inside of our hearts and minds and live from that place. So we need the A Course in Miracles so that we can learn these skills that we were so inconveniently not taught. So that's why I'm here for you today, that it is your chance to say yes to committing to something that's going to radically change your life. And the beautiful thing is that because suffering is an effect of what's going on in our mind, when we change our mind, suffering ends, both in ourselves and in the world. So we have to stop being upset at the world and blaming the people of the world. We have to start to be radically responsible for our part to play, which means we are responsible for our mind and what we're thinking. And we need to let our mind and our thinking come into accord with what is true and what is whole and what is holy, and let everything else that is not it be undone. Again, my friends, the workbook lessons of A Course in Miracles is the only thing that I have found in the world that takes us from where we are, which is intense difficulty in the world, to complete freedom and transformation, to lead us almost in a sense out of this world. You've probably heard the saying, how could I be in the world but not of it? Train your mind. That's how we do it. Okay, so it's time to end these cycles of suffering now. And I don't want to just end it for me. I want to end it for my children. Okay, I want to end it so that when my daughter grows up, that she is equipped with the tools that she needs so that she's not overrun by the world, so she's not taken advantage of by the world, so that she doesn't crumble at the face of what's going on in this world. We need that strength. We need that inner strength. We need that inner conviction. We need to operate by laws that come from God and not come from the world. Again, the workbook helps us with this. So let's get clear on what exactly the workbook for students in A Course in Miracles is. It's a training program. It is a mind training program. It is technically a self-study program, which means you must be the one who's responsible to do it every day and to show up every day. But like I said yesterday in my A Course in Miracles study group, it's a self-study, meaning a capital S. So what we're learning through the workbook is that myself is one with you, that God created you and created me. And therefore, in that unity, we are one. We are the one self. That is what we ultimately come to realize by doing the workbook lesson. So really, it's a self-study. I'm doing it myself. But we must do this with each other. It's a self-capital S study. And quite honestly, the way we learn what we need to heal and what we need to forgive and what we need to undo is when we get triggered by those that are around us. So the family members, the friends, the strangers, the news, what's going on in the world can be used to help us with our mind training if we so let it. Okay. So the workbook is not just to be read. Okay. It's meant to be applied. That is why it's given us in the format of 365 lessons. So we have been given one lesson to apply to our thinking every day for an entire year. And this one lesson is meant to work with us throughout the day. So we're meant to take, 2 to 5 minutes in the morning to sit with the lesson and apply it. We're meant to apply it all throughout the day as it suggests, and then to remind ourselves of it before we go to sleep. The amount of time that the course is asking for us to devote to this material is very minimal. Okay, 5, 10, 20 minutes maximum a day. That's nothing in a 24-hour period of time. You will take more time than that to go to the bathroom, I'm sure of it, to brush your teeth, to wash your hands. That process is habits of taking care of the body. The mind training workbook lessons is habits for taking care of the mind and the soul. Okay. So we want to integrate them into our daily lives and to literally do them as it says, not to just read it intellectually. The workbook lessons help to bring the truth from the mind to the heart, to our lived everyday experience. So one lesson a day is like planting a new seed in your mind, but you have to foster that seed. You have to water that seed. You have to pay attention to that seed. You have to love that seed. And then if you love and you pay attention to it and you water it and you give it sunlight, it's going to grow. Okay. So that's what we're doing is we're going to help to provide you with the tools, the energy, the support, the structure for you to let those seeds be planted and to keep them planted instead of planting it uproot, which is what the ego is trying to do every step of the way, right? If you think about it. And that actually brings me to an important point. The ego wants to resist this process of mind training. So we've got one lesson a day for 365 days. But the ego is going to come in and be like, no, you can't do that. It's too much. No, you can't do that. You're doing it wrong. Oh, no. This isn't for you. You're supposed to do something else. Oh, no. Like it's going to give all the excuses of doubt and fear and shame and not good enough. It's going to lead back to that to prevent you from doing the workbook. We're told in it that you're going to resist it. Like you might not like it. You might fight it. You might find problems with it. But despite all that, do it anyway. It's only your ego that is preventing you from the peace that is your birthright. And it's the ego that we're undoing through the lessons. So when the ego speaks fear and doubt, we have to not listen to it. We have to do the lessons anyway. So this is also why for me that doing the lessons in a supportive environment is so important. I want to keep sharing along this line of allowing us to realize that the workbook lessons have two parts to it. The first half is to undo that ego, that ravenous, screeching ego that's the ping-ponging between the past and the future. That's a monkey mind that's just going all over the place. It doesn't like ourselves. It judges everybody else. Everyone else is the problem. You know the drill. You've heard it plenty of times before. Okay, so the point is to undo it in the first half of the lessons. Then in the second half of the lessons is when we receive. That's when we learn to listen to the Holy Spirit. That is when we learn to follow that guidance. That is when we learn how to trust ourselves, trust our brothers, trust our neighbors, trust God. This is when we start to have the receiving of God's will and God's laws beam upon our minds and our hearts so that we are radically transformed. Okay, the second half of the lessons is the radical transformation that happens. It's the receiving that happens through God's voice. And so, of course, Miracles gives us the how and the way to do that. It gives us the how and the way to do that. Some of you will be like, yeah, but it starts with a textbook. Like, aren't I supposed to deal with the textbook first? And what I say is, no, the textbook is like the theory. Okay. It's the philosophy of truth. And so it goes into a lot of detail to explain what reality is, what truth is, what love is, what God is, what you are and what you are not. Okay. So it's fundamental. It's powerful, but I would not necessarily start there. And the reason why I would not start there is because the textbook is like a blueprint for building a house. It's like the goal. That's what you're working toward. That's what we're going to reach. But the workbook is like the tools that you need to build that home. So the workbook is like your hammer and your nails and your bricks and your wood and everything you need to build that house. So without the tools, you can't reach that goal. And so you need to know how to work the tools so that you can reach the goal of peace, which is the goal of A Course in Miracles. And peace and joy are one. Peace and joy and purpose are one. Okay. So everything that you're wanting is one. And that's where I'm at now. After having been doing the course for so long and teaching it for so long, I've immersed myself in it. Every day I live connected to a purpose. I wake up every day knowing who I am, knowing why I'm here, and knowing exactly what I'm supposed to do. I have connection with the inner voice. I follow it. I'm not perfect, but I am learning and I have tools to apply in the days that I fall off the path or the days that I forget. I'm able to come right back on because I have the tools, the support, and the way to know how to do that. And so I have found so much joy in doing what I'm to do in the ways that God has given me to do on this planet. And I feel so much gratitude for the brother and sister souls who have joined me on this journey. My life is filled with goodness and with happiness and with synchronistic miracles that happen in my everyday life that I know that this is possible for you. If I can completely and radically change everything about my life and live this stable and consistent and happy and joyful experience here, I know that you can too. And hello, the A Course in Miracles promises this. No, Jesus promises this. Jesus has been promising us this for 2,000 years. But I feel like we're finally at the point where we have a mind training tool to get there. It's not just words. It's not just pretty phrases. It's not just preachers standing on a podium telling us what to think. This is literally our way to learn how to think, to learn how to change our thinking, to learn how to see things differently so that we can see through the eyes of Christ, the eyes of light, instead of the eyes of the human body and darkness that is around here. So this, again, is what this is for and why we do the workbook lessons first. Because once you train that mind to understand yourself and to understand why you're here, you can then look on the text and understand it a lot better. I'm sure you found the text hard. A lot of people find it hard. I do have a textbook study group that I bring people through, but that link could be below. But this is why we can't do it alone. Okay, this is why we're here for the experience and the practical application, which ultimately leads me to the final point. My final point is to say that you can't wait another year to train your mind. You can't wait another minute, not another day. Okay, because any day, any time that you waste means more suffering for you and for the world. And so if you want to end that suffering, the time is right here, right now to start the lessons. But again, I've said this whole way along, I haven't been able to heal on my own. When I heal, I'm not healed alone. That's a lesson in A Course in Miracles. And so what I wanted to do was make sure that you were supported in your journey through the workbook lessons. It took me a long time to be open to what that guidance is to best support you, because I realized that I don't want to take the place of your inner teacher. I don't want to be looked at as your guru where you come to me for all of your questions. I want you to learn how to take your questions to your inner teacher and receive those answers. I want to be there to support you in your journey through the workbook so that you can really learn to hear that inner voice, follow that inner voice so that you can find that peace that is at the end of following that voice. Okay? Because God is at the end, love is at the end, truth is at the end, but you have to follow it according to your curriculum. So what I'm offering here is this workbook journey support program. What this means is we're going to commit to doing the workbook lessons together, but not in 12 months like you would typically see it. We are doing this in an 18-month time period. And the reason I say that is because I want you to do this with your Holy Spirit. And life is busy. There's so much going on. So sometimes we might not do the lesson entirely in the way that we want to. So you have space to stay another day on that lesson. Sometimes we're so busy that we miss a lesson, and that's okay. I don't want you to feel guilty or overwhelmed or like you're behind. Just take another day to do the lesson in the way that you need to. And so there's space and grace for you to really know that you can navigate with life's events and that you're not going to be behind and you're not going to be left out, but that you're coming along with us. So what that means is that we are then going to be focusing on 4 to 5 lessons a week, and we're going to be meeting once a week together to talk about all of it. When we meet together, what we are going to be talking about are the lessons at hand, but we're also going to be praying together because prayer is the medium of miracles. And we're also going to be doing hot seats where you guys can sign up for it each and every week, where I will spend 15 undivided minutes with someone who's got something going on in their life. And we're going to right there in the present moment, unpack it, apply spiritual therapy to it as it's taught in A Course in Miracles. We are going to apply the lessons to it that we were learning that day. We are going to show you the present process of how healing happens for everyone. And you probably know this, like, don't you experience learning much better in an environment when you can listen to 2 people talk and like have a conversation back and forth versus just someone lecturing at you? I know. So I don't want to just lecture at you all the time. I really want to be able to be there to help you in whatever way that you need helped, but to also hear from other people. So we'll have the hot seats. We'll also have question and answer sessions. We'll also have miracle story sessions because this is an opportunity for you to let the Holy Spirit be shared through you. And so there's just so much goodness in this support program, and you will have a customized syllabus for you so you know exactly what to do each day and in what way. And we will be there to help you to stay supported, to stay connected, to stay disciplined with the lessons, to commit to it, to do it properly, and to go all the way. We're going all the way home to God, honey. All the way home to love together. And I am so excited that this is even available to you. Like, I can't even tell you. And so if you are feeling the nudge, the spark in your heart at all to know more about this, I've put links below for you to check out about this workbook journey support program. And if you have any further questions, feel free to put them in the comment section. I will be happy to answer those for you. And be sure to sign up quickly because I have limited spots. I don't have many spots this time. So jump on this program ASAP so you can join doing these workbook lessons with us in 2025. I'm telling you, my friends, we cannot delay anymore. The world needs us. God needs us. We are here. He says in A Course in Miracles that we have a part to play in God's plan for salvation, and salvation of the world depends on me. Lesson in the course, salvation of the world depends on me. Okay, so this isn't to put pressure on you, but this is to say, knock, 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 time to wake up, time to do the inner work, time to really, really, really be committed to the workbook lessons of A Course in Miracles so you can change your mind to think with God and live according to his loving laws, which brings the peace and joy to you and those around you. I'm so excited. Can you feel it? I'm so excited. So let's do this together, my friends. Be sure to click that link below. While you're down there, like and subscribe. And thank you so much for being here. I love you so much. Hope to see you on the inside. And at the very least, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.